What I'm about to do in this video is I'm going to teach you about sexual tension and how to build it with a woman, because this is what's going to lead to you and her having sex. But before I get into the video, I'm just going to say that this may be a long video, so I would really appreciate it if you guys stuck around to the end, give me that watch time, and just help support me that way. So, anyway, what is sexual tension? Well, sexual tension is essentially just the build-up for sex. It is the build-up in which, it creates that hype, it creates that suspense, it gets the man and woman in the mood, it gets each other thinking about sex. And that's what makes the whole interaction so much better. It can be anything from eye contact to subtle touches to tone of voice. All kinds of things like that create sexual tension. So, how do you build sexual tension? Well, believe it or not, sexual tension does not start in the bedroom. Sexual tension could start as soon as you and the woman make eye contact. It's all about subtly conveying a certain message, subtly conveying your intentions. And it's very important that you don't just outright say that you want to sleep with a woman. It kills all the mystery, it kills all the excitement, and it kind of comes off as a little bit creepy. But if you can, especially if you're in public as well, if you can look at a woman a certain way, maybe you can give her these little eyes, do that with a woman. Or you can, tell her in a certain tone of voice, in a very seductive tone of voice. Using, innuendos and things like that. And what's a really great way to do it is to not make out that you are the one who wants the sex, but make out like she wants it. So, you could say something like, oh, maybe for whatever reason you're out with her, and maybe you're walking past the fruit and veg market, and maybe you're walking past some cucumbers, and you might say something like, oh, don't you be getting excited next to them cucumbers, I know what you get up to. Something like that. It gets her thinking about it, but it's not outright saying what you want. But she knows what you're thinking about, she knows what you want. So anyway, let's say she's made eye contact with you, you've made eye contact with her. Maybe you've asked her out on a date, and let's say now you're actually on a date. What kind of things do you want to do? Well, obviously when you're on a first date, it's really important that you break the touch barrier. So maybe this is something as simple as just holding her hand, or putting your arm around her waist when you're crossing the road, something like that. Something to break the touch barrier that's going to make it that much more easier to have, to build that tension. So now you're on a date, maybe you're in a restaurant, maybe you're in, maybe you've gone for drinks. When you sit down at your table, what you want to do is, don't have her sitting opposite to you. You want to have her sat next to you. You want to have her in a close personal space to you. This is going to be even better if you can find one of them places where they've got the booths. So if you're sat in a booth rather than sat on individual chairs, obviously that means she can sit closer to you. It means you're closer to her. It means you don't have to shout as loud. You can have a softer, more seductive voice when you're talking to her. Much easier to make eye contact. It's much easier to, it's much easier to touch each other and talk to each other that way. And now that you're actually there, it's a really good idea to, create that touch. So if you're on the date and you haven't yet broken that touch barrier, a really good way to do that is you could say something like, alright, I reckon we need another round of drinks. The only thing is, I'm not buying you another drink until you beat me in an arm wrestle. And what you're doing there is you're making it casual. You're casually saying, you're making it seem in a non-creepy way, her to touch your hand, to touch each other. And you're getting that competitiveness going. So it's kind of you're able to show a sense of dominance, because the chances are, if you're a strong man, right, you're going to beat her in an arm wrestle, right? Not many women have muscles. And obviously, the fact that you're dominating her, that's kind of making her think about your manly strength, your male dominance. And that's what women like to think about. Women like to be dominated in the bedroom. That is just how they work. So, let's say you've done that, you beat her in the arm wrestle, you've created that, you've broken that touch barrier now, you've created a little bit of tension. So let's say the date goes well, you bring her back to your place. Now you might be sat in your bedroom, you might be sat on your bed together. Now what's going to be really good is if you're in a position where maybe you're spooning, maybe you're cuddling, and you could have your arm around her and you could gently like caress her neck here, especially where the collarbone is there. Now generally that's a really sensitive place for women, and it can really turn them on, especially if you're like giving them hickeys and stuff, like you're kissing them there. That's a really good place. But you might not be at the point yet where you're able to kiss her. But what's a really good way to get a woman in the mood when she's on your bed is playful taps. So you could playfully tap her face or something. Something that I tend to do a lot is that I like give her a little slap on the face. Not hard, obviously. You don't want to hurt her, but you want to like sort of give her just a cheeky slap on the face, and hopefully she'll reciprocate and she'll try to hit you back and stuff. And if she does, you want to grab her hand, and that's when you want to like throw yourself on top of her. And that's a really good way to like get her thinking about dominance and you dominating her, and her being in that submissive position. Went for a cup of tea. Anyway, so you're on top of her, and obviously that's going to make her think about you dominating her. That's going to make her think about her submitting to you, her being in that sexual position, because you're basically emulating the actual thing. You're basically emulating what it's like to have sex without actually doing it. And that's going to start circling in her head. Those thoughts are going to start circling in her head, and it's going to start circling in yours as well. And that's going to create a lot more sexual tension. You see, now that you're in this position, now that you're on top of each other, now that you're like sort of wrestling, the touch barrier has been broken down even more. And now it's at a point where you're both more comfortable to get up closer to each other. So now that you're on top of her, you're overpowering her. What you're doing now is like you could get in closer now, right? Lean in closer, and this is where you want to like lower your voice. So you want to put on a more seductive tone. So you want to speak like this. So a little thing I do is I'll get in close, but I won't make a move yet. I'll build even more tension. I'll build even more suspense. And what you want to do is you want to sort of make strong eye contact. So now I want you to imagine this voice that I'm putting on now. So you want to be looking at her eyes. You want to be looking at her lips, and don't forget, soft tone of voice, very seductive. And it's like this. It's almost like you're feeling that rasp, that deep tone, but it's followed with, you're ending it with like a bit of a whisper. And what that is, it's like a subtle tone of voice that's just really seductive. I know it sounds stupid on camera. It makes me look a bit of a dick, and I do feel a bit embarrassed doing it. But I'm telling you, if you can speak like that when you're in a close proximity to a woman, it's gonna make her think. It's gonna drive her wild. It's such a seductive tone of voice. Anyway, so what you want to do is you want to look at her eyes, strong eye contact, and you want to look down at her lips, up at her eyes and down at her lips. You want to do that a few times, and maybe you might want to poke your nose in her, like sort of touch her nose with yours. Do little things like that. That's gonna like make her think, oh, is he gonna kiss me now? Is he gonna, what's he doing? What's his next move? And it's gonna build suspense. It's gonna build tension. It's gonna get her excited and make her think about that. And obviously, you want to do that for maybe maybe 5 minutes or something, just building that tension. And then what you could do, you might not even need to make the move, but at this point, probably should. And yeah, just go in for the kiss. Sort of get real close, and just fucking kiss her. And that's all you need to do. And once you've done that, she's more than likely going to kiss you back, because you'll know if she don't want to do it, because her body language will be closed off. She'll like you'll be able to see that she's really uncomfortable, and obviously if she seems uncomfortable, stop, back away. But I mean, she probably if sex wasn't something that she was thinking about, she was considering, she probably won't be wanting to come back to your place, especially not in your bedroom. But yeah, so now that you've done that, you'll probably be making out now. And if you're making out of her, one thing that's a really good thing to do, obviously I've talked about like caressing the neck slightly, and obviously if you can like sort of kiss her ear, you see where the collarbone is there, it might be hard to see on camera, but if you can kiss her there, you give a little, and maybe even like give a little love bites. I wouldn't give her love bites, because obviously she don't want a parent seeing it, she don't want a family seeing it, she don't want to be seen obviously with love bites. People are gonna think she's a slut, right? But obviously you could sort of not give her love bites, but go through the motions, sort of like suck there. That's fucking weird, man. That sounds so weird on camera, but yeah, like sort of suck her, like you know what I mean. But don't actually like give her a proper love bite. And I don't know why, but that area just seems to drive women mad. Another thing you can do is sort of like massage her inner thighs, but obviously don't actually touch between her legs, but get close, because that builds attention. That makes her think, oh, he's gonna touch me there now. He's gonna, what's he up to? What's he doing? And obviously it just drives women mad. And obviously you want to keep doing stuff like this, and see, sexual tension is all about touch. It's all about building suspense. It's all about showing that interest there, showing that intention in a subtle way, but not delivering on it almost until the moment's right. And it's about building that moment, building that suspense. And this is what drives women crazy, and this is what men don't understand about seduction. This is what a lot of men don't realise, is that foreplay and stuff like that, it's such a massive deal. And women will always say they want foreplay, and it's true, because it's what gets them in the mood. It's what, creates a better interaction sexually. And obviously if you're at this point now where, you've got all that tension, you're making out of her, you're touching the inside of her thighs, I think you're at the point now where you're ready. You can just start undressing yourself, Start taking your top off. In fact, no. Forget that. Don't start taking your top off yet. Wait. And now what you could do, you can start flicking a bra strap. So if you put your hand behind a shirt, you might be able to feel a bra strap somewhere. So what you want to do, if you can actually do it, obviously she might be wearing awkward clothing, but if she's wearing something like a t-shirt or a little like top, you might be able to feel it. So just grab it and just sort of like flick it against her. Flick the elastic against her. And that's going to make her think about like you taking her bra off. It's going to make her think about undressing, and do things like that. Or even like put your hand in her pants a little bit and just sort of like flick her underwear, flick her panties, do stuff like that, but don't actually like try and take it off of her. And then like obviously as you're doing this, you might want to like do a little sort of test the waters a little bit, because obviously I said that there is a chance that she might not actually want to do it. She might actually feel uncomfortable, and obviously I've always said you should always read the body language, read the room and all that. But this is something I kind of do just to see if it's actually something she does want. So yeah, and then obviously if you've done all those things previously, now you're at a point where you could actually try and take her clothes off. Try and take her top off or something, see how she responds. Now, if she's helping you to do that, if she's like actually, say you're grabbing a top and she's like grabbing it with you and like taking it off, that's a really good sign. Obviously she's in the mood, obviously she wants it. And now, you maybe could start taking her pants off, and then you start undressing. And obviously, if you're at that point, you're doing it, right? You might as well just go straight in there. But yeah, that's basically how you build sexual tension. There's probably a lot more ways to do it, but I haven't really got a script or anything to follow. I'm just sort of like going off the cuff here. But yeah, so it's as simple as that really. You got to understand the importance of sexual tension. You got to understand the importance of being subtle. It's an art form. It's a skill. being, you know, the art of being subtle is such an important thing, especially when it comes to the bedroom, when it comes to sex and everything like that. It's a massive part of your relationship. It's a massive part of your dating life. And if you can do this with a woman, it's going to drive her insane, because it shows that you have a high emotional intelligence, and it also shows that you know what you're doing in the bedroom. It shows that you're not just gonna, you know, you're not just gonna be inside her for like 5 seconds and then just poof. See, this is one of the reasons why women like foreplay, because a lot of men, they can't last in bed. So it's all about building that excitement, building that tension, and that's what creates a better experience for the both of you. And you know, obviously, you know, we talk about, sometimes on the channel we talk about like dopamine, and you know, you've got your instant gratification, you've got delayed gratification. Obviously, delayed gratification is always better. It's always more rewarding. It always feels better, because it's like it's delayed. You're waiting for it. And the same is with sex. If sex is just a quick fix, it's just a quick pleasure, you don't appreciate it. You don't enjoy it. But if you build sexual tension, you do. You appreciate it. It's better. It's better for her. It's way better for her. It's way better for you in the long run. Because if you can build sexual tension with a woman, that's going to get her emotionally hooked to you, because it shows that you're a guy who can seduce. You're a guy who's charming. You've got confidence. It takes confidence to be able to make a move on a woman. It takes confidence to be able to, you know, hit the right spots and show that you know what you're doing. And if you can do this, that woman is going to be crazy about you. That's what you got to understand, guys. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that video. That's what I'm going to say about that. Bye.